Welcome to the Card Attic. This is part 3 of episode 1, my review of the 1978 Topps Football card set. This episode includes some missing players from this set, some stars that just do not appear, some players' last cards of their playing career, and my review of the airbrushing techniques at Topps. The famous Norm Saunders, the airbrush artist. So let's start off with a couple of players who are absent from this set. Something else interesting in 1978 was that each card company, whether it be Fleer or Bowman or Topps, would have to negotiate not only with the NFL, but with the NFL Players Association as to which cards were produced. And so each player actually had their own individual contract with the card companies. And Topps this year had two all-star players that did not appear, and so that's significant for this set. The first is Broadway Joe Namath. He was just traded to the Rams, and so played the 77 season with the Rams, but does not appear on a card for this Topps set. As well as Lynn Swann, who was just gaining stardom, and so he was at the height of his career. And he has his Topps rookie card is going great, but for about a 5-year period, Lynn Swann does not appear on Topps cards, and so he's not in this set as well. Some people like to include rookie cards as a significant thing. I also like to find some cards that are interesting. Our final cards for players. Billy Kilmer, a long time NFL quarterback with the 49ers, the Saints, and the Redskins, is going to hang it up after the 1977 season. And so this is his last Topps card. Wow, look at all those stats and look at all those years. Now, some of these players are going to appear again as reprints or later on in sets, but this is his last playing card. Also, a longtime NFL quarterback, Roman Gabriel, who played lots of years with the Rams and the Eagles and ended up finishing his season here with the Rams. And so Roman Gabriel is going to hang it up, and this is his final football card. And here's an NFL Hall of Famer, Emmitt Thomas. This is going to be his last card. He played his whole career with the Chiefs and took home a Super Bowl, but this is his last Topps card for the Hall of Famer, Emmitt Thomas. All right, as I said with the NFL and their agreement and negotiations and contracts with companies, Topps did not have official licensing rights to the NFL logos, several player names. It certainly could not print any of the coaches or show pictures of coaches or referees and many of the fans, and even oftentimes the stadiums themselves. Topps was able to employ a man named Norm Saunders, and Norm Saunders was the artistic director and the airbrush specialist at Topps. And so he worked with Butch Jacobs, the director of photography, and they would have to airbrush all of the helmet logos, several player names from their backs, anything in the background that would have been a referee, a coach, some fans, maybe some advertising or something that would show the team's logo on the stadium. And so they had to become masters of airbrushing. Now, sometimes they did a great job, and sometimes they did an interesting job. And so I'll show you a couple of the more interesting ones. Poor John Mendenhall here. I don't know what it looks like. His back is against a tree or a forest, but he looks almost two-dimensional in his airbrushing for John Mendenhall. So poor John. That's his picture. I don't know who or what was behind Rufus Mays, but they just went, Rufus, we're going to airbrush everything out and just give you a gray background. That's what we're going to give you. Lyle Blackwood. This must have been an in-game photograph of Lyle Blackwood, but we could not use referees or fans, and it looks, so look, they just kind of bubbled and blurred everybody out. These even look to me like the boots of a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. And see, even the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders had their own contract, and they were the iconic brand that they could not appear on Topps cards. So they just blurred out everything on the back of Lyle's card. This one I think is very interesting. O.J. Simpson appears on a few cards during this season. Now, O.J. Simpson is going to play the 1977 season with the Buffalo Bills. And here is his highlights card, which I'll talk about later. And so you see him there rushing in his Buffalo Bills uniform. However, he is traded to the 49ers, and he was traded early enough that Topps felt he should appear in a 49ers jersey. The problem is we don't have a picture of O.J. Simpson in his 49ers jersey. So what good old Norm Saunders and his team had to do was take the Buffalo Bills jersey, and notice he wore 32 for Buffalo. He's going to wear 32 for San Francisco too. But they just color over the number in the new 49er colors. And even the two stripes on the sleeve. You see Buffalo's got the two stripes. So here's OJ with the two stripes colored. And the helmet has to be colored from the white of the Bills to the gold of the 49ers. The problem is they weren't planning on me checking up. The 49ers jersey actually has 3 stripes on the sleeve, as we see in Ray Wersching's kicker card right here. And they certainly didn't get the helmet color right. The 49ers have a much darker gold than they gave OJ. So that's how we can tell. They simply colored over his Bills jersey as he appears here in the highlights card and even in the team leader card in his Bills uniform. But they tried to put one over on me, but I caught them. All right, so that's that. Here's another interesting one here. Fran Tarkenton. Now here's Fran, who played about half the season, and I'll get into that a little bit more later too. Played about half the season with the Vikings before he was injured. But look here. We have the background where we have a sideline, we have a player in back, and we see some fans there in the stands. Here's his highlights card. I don't know if this was the same set of pictures. It's slightly different because you see the ball over the 1 and the ball over the O. But they certainly airbrushed out the sideline. They airbrushed out any players on the sidelines. And they blurred the fans a little more as well. You can see even the fence there is blurred a little bit. So that was pretty good airbrushing from Norm Saunders. And the final airbrushing is probably the most famous one of the set. And this is where Norm takes a lot of pride. Jeff Van Note was photographed on the sideline after a Falcons series. But in this series, in this particular series, Jeff Van Note was hit in his helmet, and his helmet struck the branch of his nose there. And when Jeff Van Note was over on the sideline, his nose was covered in blood and dripping down off his nose. Well, Topps felt that was a little too graphic for the PG players cards they wanted to produce. So they asked Norm Saunders to airbrush all of the blood off Jeff's face for the card. And Norm himself says he took a little pride in the fact that he PG'd up Jeff Van Note's card there. And there's the airbrushing cards. This concludes part 3 of episode 1, my review of the 1978 Topps Football Card Set. This segment included missing players, last cards, and those airbrushing techniques from the wizards at Topps. If you have any particular comments, you enjoyed any particular part of this set, let me know. Parts 4 and 5 are coming soon. Thank you for visiting the Card Attic.